Saul Anuzis, Coast to Coast Strategies, former Michigan Republican Party chair on the Republican Committee with us. Nice to talk to you again.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
Where to begin with you? Let's start on the national level, if we could, sir. Yesterday, on Meet the Press, Robert Gibbs, the press secretary for President Obama, sort of said that he thinks it's very possible that the Democrats could lose the majority in the House of Representatives. He says, I think there's no doubt there are enough seats in play that could cause the Republicans to gain control. Why would he go on TV and say that?
Well, I'm not sure, other than he was dealing with a little bit of a dose of reality. I mean, right now there are over 100 competitive seats. The House Republicans need to take 40. Things are looking extremely well around the country. Everyone that I have talked to in every single state have seats in the play that they never thought were possible. And if you take a look at Michigan as an example, I mean, we've got Bart Stupek's seat, we have Shower's seat, we have Peter's seat. I mean, for the first time ever, we have 3 Democratic seats in Michigan that are at play. So I think the same thing is happening across the country, and it is a unique opportunity where the American people are looking kind of for checks and balances. The Democrats now control all of government federally. They can do and pass whatever they want. And I think that the Obama administration and what Nancy Pelosi have done is maybe pushed a little too far.
Let's take those 3 in particular, the 3 Michigan congressional seats. The fact that Bart Stupek, I think he was 16 years in office, Democrat there, you might think after 16 years of a Democrat getting reelected that it would be a democratically inclined district. However, he was a conservative Democrat, and that district is a little bit unpredictable at this stage, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's probably one of those classic independent conservative districts where people vote more the person than they do the party. I think if you looked at the history there, Republicans at the national level have been fairly successful at the presidential level, as an example. They've elected state senators and state representatives that are Republican. So that's probably one of the most swing districts in the state. In kind of a draw number standpoint. And I think that, we've got some great challengers up there. We've got a very aggressive primary going on. Republicans are working across the district. It is the largest district east of the Mississippi. So, you've got a lot of geography to cover. But the folks in the 1st District are very independent, pro-life, pro-gun, anti-tax, fiscally responsible. So I think Republicans are going to stand a great chance picking that seat up this year.
Yeah, after all, they have State Senator Jason Allen, a Republican, who's one of those candidates for that seat. And according to Inside Michigan Politics, he's in a dead heat right now statistically with Dr. Dan Banashek of Crystal Falls. What are you hearing about that race, if anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think those right now are the 2 leading candidates, both very strong, bring, different strengths and weaknesses to the table, little different perspectives of where they come from. One's north of the bridge, the other south of the bridge. But, that's a district, I think it covers 31 counties. Goes all the way down to the top of Bay City and obviously the entire Upper Peninsula. So both of them are running very strong campaigns. Both of them are working very hard. I've had a chance to talk to both of them over the last couple months here about their campaigns and get updated. And I think, again, we're in great shape as Republicans in that area.
David Axelrod, another presidential advisor, says Congress ought to extend those unemployment benefits. Do you think that will end up happening?
I do. I think that Republicans agree that this is a very tough time. These are difficult times. The issue is there were some compromises put forth. There's a lot of politics being played with respect to how to do this. And again, this is a question of funding. I mean, the biggest problem we have today is we're spending money we don't have. We run up under Obama the largest deficits ever. We're increasing the debt at levels that have, never been seen before. So I think that there's just, there has to be some fiscally responsible moves in everything we pass in the next, couple of years, and we have to really change the way government delivers services. So once we get past the politics, which unfortunately are, you got Democrats and Republicans playing it, most people agree that the extension of the benefits is important.
Well, I guess there were some Democratic governors who went to the White House this weekend, and they're a little concerned about the White House's idea of suing Arizona over their immigration law. And according to the story that I'm reading, the reason the governors are nervous about it is that the widespread poll shows that Americans support Arizona's decision on the immigration reform law.
Well, they do. I think there's a lot of frustration in this country that the federal government has not stepped up, has not secured our borders. We are a country of immigrants. My family immigrated here. I didn't learn to speak English till I was 7 years old. Theoretically, obviously, most families from this country have immigrated at one time or another, but they've done it legally. We are a very generous nation. We give a lot to the world. We give a lot to people who come to this country to kind of live the American dream out, and so it's a tremendous opportunity. But there has to be a process. This is taxing our services. This is taxing our education. It's contributing in a very significant way to crime. And so the American people just want a rational immigration policy, and they also want to secure our borders. And unfortunately, President Obama and the Democrats have not committed to do that. They're playing politics with this. They want to basically just, to some extent, talking about, broad, some type of amnesty program. And I think that, the American people are sick and tired of it. So when states step in to take over, when states are forced to basically do what the federal government can't do, there's a lot of frustration there. And then to have them sue them because they're doing a job, I think is outrageous on the part of the Democrats.
It's a little bit tricky when we're talking about the race for governor, and we're 3 weeks and 1 day away from the primary right now, depending on the poll that you look at. The latest one that I see shows Congressman Pete Hoekstra with a 6-point lead and Andy Dillon with a 15-point lead on the Democratic side, but 70% undecided. What's your ear to the ground on the race for governor at the moment?
Well, I think it's very competitive. The reality is I think we're going to have a very close race, especially on the Republican side. I think we have some very strong candidates that are, taking their message across the state to the people of Michigan. If you take a look at some of the demographics, the different polls that are coming out, obviously geography is playing into play as each of the candidates has a base of their own to bring to the table, so to speak, when the votes are cast in August. So I think that this is going to be pretty close. I would not be surprised to see our candidates, one of the candidates, win with 32% of the vote on the Republican side. You've got 5 fairly strong candidates competing, but I do think that if you take a look at where they're coming from, the message is all about jobs, and the Republicans are coming back and saying this state has been devastated by policies that have literally chased jobs south of the border. Unfortunately, that border we're talking about is Indiana, Ohio. They go into other states in Michigan, not to even mention the fact that so many have left for, international jobs. So Michigan has to become more competitive. The Republicans are putting forth very specific programs. Each one has plans that they've laid out, both in public and are on their websites. And they're addressing the issues that are affecting job providers. And without real jobs, these temporary government jobs aren't going to do us any good. We need private sector, real jobs, which means we have to make Michigan a friendly place to do business, a friendly place to raise a family, and a friendly place to get educated. And we have too many of our kids leaving our state. They, going to arguably the best colleges and universities in the country, getting a degree here, and latest polls are showing as many as 68% of the kids upon graduation are moving to other parts of the country to get a job. That's just not acceptable.
Let's keep in touch as the day gets closer. Thanks for the chat this morning.
Thanks for being with me, Michael Patrick.
Saul Anuzis, former Republican Party chair.